Well, this coronavirus crap going on. I got two ARFs together, and I was messing around on YouTube, and I noticed somebody flying a toot, little toot. So I got the Brodak version of it, and what's nice is all the decals and everything are the same as the original. The only difference is they're beam mounted for the Brodak engine, and everything's laser cut, but the wood is way superior to anything we ever used to get in those little cafes from Goldberg. So I'm just rounding off the edges a little bit. I'm not going to town on. I got one of these, bought it years ago. Can't get them anymore since Top Flight went belly up. It works so pretty good, rounding things up. You gotta be careful to keep it right in the middle and vertical, but other than that, it does a pretty good job. The only downside to the laser cutting is all the black edges, but it's not that big. I sanded most of them off. Oddly enough, there's a little bit of an angle in those, but it blows me away how nice this wood is, and everything's nice and straight. I've built the, and it's on my channel as well. I've built the Flight Streak trainer. That's all profile, and the wood in that thing was great. Yeah, but this stuff is straight. It's light. It's a really nice quality wood considering what it is. But people forget how much fun half A's are to fly. Like back in the day, you learned how to fly controlling these things. Although I understand the little toot's certainly not a trainer. My dad built one back in the 60s. He didn't have any luck with it. He ended up giving it to us kids for something to play with. But I think a lot of it might have to do with the incidents on the wing and stuff. Biplanes are, if you don't get it right, you'll have a porpoising airplane. So we'll see how it goes in that. Pretty straightforward building these things. But it's a really nice wood. A little bit hard on the tail, but you'd want that wood to be hard. Yeah, as these things always, you'll need the strength, and they tend to be nose heavy. Yeah. Okay, I glued this together. All I do is put glue on one side, and I just laid her down on the wax paper that I had here and held her together until it's set up. Geez, I remember back in the day it never took a lot longer than that to glue these. So next thing I did is I drew a line right down the center there. Shows the joint of the wing, but it's got a line there. So I'm going to put this right on perfectly. And now when I put the centerpiece in, it has an etched line on it. Right across there I can line it right up. It'll be perfect. Yeah, it's just a profile, but I'll tell you, with a biplane, you want everything just right. So the first thing I'm going to do is just round all this top of this off just so it's nice looking when I finally glue it down. There, rounded her off. I didn't do the back because it's got to be matched anyway, so now I'll put a little glue on her. I'm using medium CA and all this stuff. It's not too thick, like I find thick CA is too thick, and thin CA, man, it just takes off everywhere. Get all this lined up perfect. Probably pin it down, I just don't want to put any pinholes in it. So I'm not sure what we're going to do for covering it. Although biplane is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. It's actually the first biplane control line I ever built. Yeah. Now I'll just finish sanding up with this 1/2 inch dowel and tidy this area up a little. Decided to go beam mount. Pretty straightforward. I didn't see any issues as I was going along. The laser cutting could be a little tighter on most of these parts. There's supposed to be a piece to fit in the bottom once you put the wing in. That wasn't in the kit. But it was just a matter of making it out of scrap that the fuselage was punched out of, so that's no big deal. When you're rounding the fuselage, and I've done it in the past, make sure you leave a flat spot here for your vertical fin and rudder. Yeah. So I put the bell crank mount in. I get the landing gear, what you got to put in first. Thought it went in that hole. I was thinking the hole's kind of big, but that's for a dowel. So it's kind of got the. I may put something in here to keep the landing gear from damaging the wing. We'll see. But you know, I probably could have taken a piece of 30-second scrap and put in there and tightened up that joint. That's what I did with the engine mounts. They're a little loose. So 30-second scrap. Did a little fitting, but you know, overall, it's a nice little kit, and it's certainly much better than the old die crush. That's for sure. Yeah, the laser cutting is pretty good. I kind of thought it was odd. I think, kind of thinking the grain should be running vertically for these wing braces. That's one boo-boo, I think, that needs to be rectified. It's kind of odd to, but because I know it's always stiffer that way. It should be, the grain should be running vertically in those. So I'll probably laminate that a bit with some balsa and sand a little airfoil into it or something. Just doing up the lead outs. The old copper tubing trick. Go in through the eyelet, through the tube, and back around through the tube again. And with this toot has very short lead outs, so it's toying with the idea bushing the bell crank, but it's like really overkill. Besides, bell crank's out in the open, you can service it. So I just use a pair of old pliers I got. The cutters are pretty much at it. I like to put some heat shrink on it too. And you can see I just leave it in a loop, until comes time to string it through the guides on the wing strut. There. Good enough. That's it. I leave those on until last minute just because I find you don't lose them that way. They don't really get in your way, so. Hey, old balls of dust. Another blast from the past. Ambroid. I still got some of this kicking around. Can't get it anymore. But for doing hinges the old way, this stuff works great. The only thing is, you got to pre-glue everything. And the reason for that is it'll just soak up if you don't. You can see the wood soaking that up like crazy right now. Yeah, you just give her a coat. You're supposed to use, according to Tester or Brodak, to use that Tester's fast drying glue, but I just don't have any. So I'll do it the old Ambroid way. In fact, this is how we used to have to do all your gluing. The two pieces that had to be glued together, you had to pre-glue them. Because if you didn't, it wouldn't stick where they're damn. When I was a kid, first started doing it, I couldn't figure it out. You glue something together and it would just pop apart. So what the hell? So I actually read the instructions. And yeah, funny how that works. I was gonna do, I was just gonna sew them on, but I use, normally on a half A, I use thread. But I figured this time I'll just get the Ambroid out. The smells from the good old days. Segment will work. Actually, segment dries faster than Ambroid. Yeah. So I'll give her a good coat. Pre-coat. And you can really see why, man, because it just sucks it right up. There, done. So I'll let that dry. And that really doesn't take that long. And the fun part is getting this damn stuff to stay down. Yeah. Yep. The old acetone glue. Here's the other stuff. And I do believe you can still get it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can still buy Segment. And if I was using that, like if I was doing this the old way, I'd have all this nose compressed under weights and pretty much leave it till tomorrow. Now for the fun part. Nice thing about the hinges is they come all folded up. And you get those nice bends in it. I always mark my hinges with a pencil. to the halfway point. You want to rub the glue right into that. See? A little bit more on there. Don't ever think about using CA for this. It will be a total disaster. You'll need some patience doing this. Probably why Brodak recommends the fast drying stuff. And even with a pre-coated, she's sucking that glue up pretty good. I marked which ones are top and bottom. I put a little X in pencil. So I know where to put them, because these are staggered top and bottom, right? It smells like model airplane glue. Should smell. Doesn't have that eye-watering effect you get from CA. Now, the more of the stuff you get on your fingers, the more your hinge is going to want to stick to your damn fingers. You learn a technique after a while. Rub it in. One more. Yes. COVID virus crap. I'm getting lots of stuff. I should be working on my Jeep right now. I could do a service on it. Big one too, spark plugs and everything. Yeah. It's got 300,000 on her. And just lightly rub it in. There you go. Old school. So I get the stab and elevator pinned to the plans. Don't have to worry about wax paper because it's not going to go through. And just because that glue isn't really hard, I didn't let it set up very much. It allows that cloth to pull away a bit there. And just rub it in. It does. It's kind of like dope. It'll loosen up the glue underneath. Sticks down really nice. I still remember how mad I used to get because this stuff wouldn't want too much glue there. You'll don't want to glue this elevator to the stab. There we go. When that's set up, I'll flip it over and do the other side. And when I get to the other side, I'll rub a little into the joint in the other end. I don't think I'm really going to have to. Yep. So it's been 10-15 minutes. That's all it takes for this application anyway. So I'm going to, because of that doubler, I should have put that on later, I guess. I'm going to do, just pin this down again, using the same pinholes. And do the same thing. And once that dry, I'll just flip it around. Should be good to go. It's kind of odd. Everything's got a little teeny, easily correctable tweak to it. I figured with the laser cutting, it would be perfectly straight, unless this particular sheet was a bit cockeyed. Plus I had to shim everything to get them. Like they're off like a 32nd of an inch. But again, compared to old kits, this thing is very, very, very nice. I did true up the slot for the stab on this, because it did have a little tweak in it, just like everything else. Easily fixed. And then I just glued a shim onto the stabilizer and sanded it down until I get a snug fit in there. So everything is lined up perfectly. Now I can just give it a whack with some thin CA, and that sucker's done. You gotta be careful with this CA, because the hole is it'll just run out like a brook. But it's really snug, so I'm just using thin. Normally I'd just use medium in there. Something I notice I don't see in control line kits anymore, and something we always used to do, was put a bend in the push rod in half A's. It did two things. One, it would step down so you could get at the horn a little better. The other thing it did is it offered you a little bit of fine tuning on the push rod. So if you got your 90 wrong here, or is off a little bit, you could increase or decrease that bend to do a little minor adjustments. Okay, if I put a Z-bend on the other end, Brodak wants you to use this. And on a half A, this seems kind of weeny, or kind of big. The wire is really not very snug in there at all. Rattling around, that's probably going to come off. So I put a Z-bend on it. It's only one screw holds that horn in on the elevator, so all I could do is back the screw off, swing the horn around, and pop it in, and straighten it out, and tighten the screw, and you're back in business. This is guaranteed not to come off. CA can be tricky stuff to use when you're putting your tail feathers on. So what I'm doing is I just tack it in place, and it was off a little, so you can actually give it a little bend, and you'll hear the balsa creak a little bit, but it's just two little drops, and then you can get the thing straight. Yeah, even eyeballing it looks pretty good now. And then you got to keep in mind here is you put your triangle in front of your hinges. Yeah. So now that I got it where I want it, I can just a little bead of medium right down that stab, and she'll suck that right up. There. Double check it before it hardens. Perfect. Got her licked. Get the fin or the rudder on now. That was pretty easy. Tells you just to push the wire in. For the skid, I actually drilled a hole and lined it with, and made it a little oversized, and then cut the notch I like to tell you to, and put medium CA down the slot end down the hole and pushed it in that way instead of just having the wire using it for basically to punch a hole. So then with the oversize, I put medium in there and it wicked down, so you got a pretty nice case of medium glue around that. Medium CA around that wire that's in there. Pre-coat with ambroid again because they're going to use hinge material like they say, to go over and reinforce that. Bringing back memories, all this stuff. So yeah, this is working out nice. You can see that Z-bend and how much better that system is than just using all that wire and stuff, because that could come off. Yeah, I wasn't feeling all warm and fuzzy about that. So, and I glued the dowel in. The 1/8 was way too loose. So I got a, what size was that? It was a 3/32, yeah. Because all the holes are a little bit oversized, it seems. So, and I gave it a coat of thin CA just to beef up the balsa around here. So I decided I'll just JB weld this tank right to that mount I made, and all that ambroid glue is starting to come off my fingers now. I've done it before and it worked, so I'm just gonna do it again. So I got acetone. I sanded all the bottom of that. I got some acetone to clean it up. Now it's in the end I just said screw it, I'll just glue this bugger right on there. Actually, JB Weld's been around quite a while. Good stuff. Wonderful epoxies, eh? There. Set that over here and let her dry. So my wing strut, I put the vertical green 330 or 1/32 ply on there. Buddy, that made all the difference. Here's the, that's pretty flimsy. So it's going to kill two birds with one stone. It'll fit the, oh yeah, fits in that slot nice and tight. But, one of the biggest groaners I think is that grain going horizontal instead of vertically on the struts, but some of this shit here, whew, fixes that right up. And there's a little wooden pilot. I'm kind of up in the air about that. Yeah. So I gotta sand everything to match here and drill those 2 holes for the lead outs, and then laminate the outboard strut. And I guess next is putting the wing on. So there it is, one little toot ready for dope. I just finished putting the top wing on. Not anything special about it, although I think I see some of these fly successfully. My father built one. He said he was all over the sky, and I got something feeling it got something to do with keeping these wings, having them out of kilter. So I went to this strut, measured it, went to the other strut, measured it. They're identical. And then I got in the middle and made sure everything was the same. This was a little shy for the center post, which I laminated as well with the 32nd plywood. I made this little balsa block, which I'm going to be sanding down with my dowel sander. Tidy that up, make that a little pretty. Yeah, they're the same, pretty much bang on. Yeah. And interesting to see as much of a tweak. Not that you got a big airfoil to worry about. Something else I should have thought of doing though. Well, they're exactly the same, so it's all good. The Android hinge system worked like a dream. It's all glued together. The changes I made was just that little block I made here to mount the center strut. I got a cute little thing. Got the rubber band on the landing gear. So yeah, I rounded most of the stuff up before I finished up here and before I put the tail on, leaving a little flat spot for the vertical fin as I mentioned before. Here it is, one Brodak Little Toot, ready for some dope.